Perhaps today it is hard to find a person who has never heard the name of the Rothschilds. They are credited with immense wealth, influence over the global economy, and involvement in the darkest events of history. They are accused of secretly controlling governments, financing wars, revolutions, and economic crises. It is believed that the Rothschilds are behind the fall of empires, the rise and collapse of markets, and the replacement of presidents and governments. People say that if their fortune were divided among all the inhabitants of the planet, it would be possible to end hunger and poverty forever. But instead, the world plunges into crises time and again. You are on Paradoria. Enjoy watching. Today, the Rothschilds are called the bankers of kings and the kings of bankers. According to so-called independent experts, their combined wealth may reach hundreds of trillions of dollars, more than half of all the world's wealth. But it was not always so. The story of the most influential financial dynasty begins in the 18th century, in the German city of Frankfurt am Main. In the Jewish ghetto, amid poverty and restrictions, a boy named Meyer Amschel Rothschild was born in 1744. He was orphaned early, with no money, no patrons, no prospects. At that time, no one could have imagined that his descendants, several generations later, would concentrate in their hands the financial levers of the entire world. Meyer started small. He traded coins and antiques and exchanged currencies from various German principalities. Gradually, his shop grew into something more, a financial hub where issues of money, debt, and trust were resolved. This was how the first Rothschild bank emerged. A few years later, Meyer became the personal banker of Landgrave Wilhelm of Hesse-Kassel. His task was to increase the prince's treasury, finance the army, pay for the luxuries of the court, and cover the most risky expenses. If successful, he would gain money and influence. If he failed, he faced trial, ruin, and perhaps death. When Napoleon began his conquests, Europe descended into chaos. Wilhelm was forced to flee, while Rothschild stayed to manage his capital. It was then that Meyer revealed himself as a man for whom there were no moral limits when profit was at stake. He did not merely preserve the prince's money, he managed to multiply it. Rothschild made money on currency differences, the speed of transactions, and information that reached him before others. He understood the key rule: whoever controls money and information controls power. Meyer decided to keep his fortune within the family. Only sons could inherit the business. Daughters were excluded from affairs, which led to closed marriages within the family. This is how the dynasty, sealed off from the outside world, was formed. After Meyer's death, his 5 sons spread across Europe. Frankfurt, London, Paris, Vienna, and Naples became the key nodes of a unified financial network. Formally, each bank was independent, but in reality, all decisions were made collectively. They were connected by their own communication system, couriers, and secret correspondence. Nathan Rothschild, who founded the English branch of the family, stood out particularly. His moment of glory came during the Napoleonic Wars. The British government entrusted him with financing the army and its allies. Millions of pounds in gold passed through the Rothschild banks. The most famous episode is linked to the Battle of Waterloo. Nathan's courier was the first to bring him the news of Napoleon's defeat. But instead of buying up bonds, Nathan began to sell them en masse. The stock exchange decided that Britain had lost. Prices plummeted. At that moment, Rothschild's agents started buying bonds for next to nothing. When the official news of the victory reached the market, Rothschild found himself the owner of nearly all government securities. Within a few days, he had increased his fortune by tens of millions of pounds. From that point on, the Rothschilds were no longer just bankers. they became a force capable of influencing the destinies of nations. They bought up countries' bonds, drove them into financial dependence, and dictated the terms. Monarchs and governments became compliant when they found themselves on the brink of bankruptcy. In the 19th century, the Rothschilds received noble titles, joined the elite of Europe, and became part of cultural and political life. Their influence grew, but remained hidden from the general public. In the 20th century, attention shifted to the United States. It was there that the Federal Reserve System emerged, a private financial institution performing the functions of a central bank. It is believed that the Rothschilds played a key role in its creation. The Fed gained the right to print money and lend to the government. From that moment on, the U.S. found itself in constant debt. Attempts to change the system ended tragically. Abraham Lincoln and John F. Kennedy both advocated for returning control over money issuance to the state, and both were assassinated. Over time, the influence of financial structures spread across the entire world. Wars, crises, inflation, all of these brought profit to those who financed the conflicts while staying on the sidelines. The Rothschilds are accused of profiting from every major war, regardless of who won. Today, the Rothschild name does not appear on Forbes lists. Their wealth is hidden behind trusts, funds, and offshore structures. Money loves silence, and the Rothschilds understood this before anyone else. Centuries have passed, but the dynasty remains part of world history. Some consider them brilliant financiers. Others see them as the shadow rulers of the world. Where truth ends and myth begins is for each person to decide. But one thing is certain. The Rothschilds' story is a tale of power, money, and information. And it seems that this story is far from over. Thank you for watching this video until the end. Please like, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts about this story in the comments. See you next time.